Hello Falcons, and welcome back to another sentence diagram lesson. This is lesson number 20, so move all the way down in your sentence diagram journal. And we are talking about appositives and appositive phrases. Okay, go ahead and turn to a new page in your journal. All right, let's go ahead and title our page. This is 20, appositives and appositive phrases. Let's start by understanding this word appositives. An appositive is a noun or a pronoun. So a person, place, or thing, or a word that replaces person, place, or thing, like he, she, they. And this noun or pronoun identifies another noun or pronoun in the sentence. Okay, let's go ahead and look at an example. Let's take the sentence, our first president George Washington had been a military commander. Now, let's just start by finding our subject and our verb as we always do, and let's just label them within our sentence. Our subject is president. And our verb is had been. Okay, great. So we already know what the basic structure of our diagram is going to look like, but now I want to ask you, do you see anything in the sentence, any nouns or pronouns in the sentence that help us understand our first president? Well, I see George Washington. See how this noun is now naming who the first president was. This is an appositive. Awesome. Now, when we write an appositive, we will just put it right next to the noun that it modifies or identifies, but in parentheses. So let me show you what this looks like. Go ahead and draw your baseline. And let's write our subject, president, in parentheses. Right next to it, we're going to write our appositive, George Washington. Let's draw a vertical line which separates our subject from our verb. Our verb is had been. And now we can deal with the rest of the sentence. Okay. Our first president, George Washington, had been a military commander. Well, I know that had been is a linking verb. It's going to connect the subject, president, with information about the subject. So next to had been, I need a slanted line. Okay, now the president had been what? The president had been a commander. This is my subject complement. It tells me more about the subject. Okay, now let's see where we're going to put these other words. What about our and first? What are those modifying? Yep, they're modifying the president. Our tells me who's our president, and first tells me which one. Okay, what about A and military? What do those modify? Yep, they modify commander. Which commander? A commander. And what kind? Yes, a military commander. Okay, perfect. So we've learned now that the appositive, which identifies a noun, goes right next to that noun, but in parentheses. Let's try another example. For this one, I asked my history teacher Miss Cyril a question. Okay, let's start as we always do by finding our subject and our verb. Our subject is I, and our verb is asked. Okay, let's just start with our basic diagram. So I asked. Okay, and let's just see if we can continue with our diagram before we look for our appositive. I asked. Now, do we have anything that tells us what was being asked? We do. I asked a question. Notice how that action, asked, is being done to question. That makes it the direct object. To show that direct object, we need that straight line. And let's write it down. Okay, I asked a question. Well, I also know who I asked the question to the history teacher, right? So this is my indirect object. It answers the question to who. So we'll put that below the verb. Okay, now here's the thing. I know teacher is a noun. It's a person or a thing, in this case a teacher. Now, what is identifying that teacher? What word? Yes, Miss Cyril, right? So this is my noun appositive. Perfect. So in parentheses next to teacher, I'm going to put Miss Cyril. Awesome. Now I just have a few words left. What about my and history? What do those modify? Yeah, they modify the teacher. Whose teacher? My teacher. What kind of teacher? A history teacher. All right, now what about A? Where do I put A? Yes, it goes below question. A tells me which question. A question. All right, that's it for today. We'll talk about appositive phrases in our next video. Goodbye, Falcons.